The Europe reconstruction had two aims. One, revive the economies, and secondly, to halt communism from spreading in the European continent. That it would no longer be possible for the United States of America to exchange dollars for gold. Today in India, where interest rates have been brought down to target the inflation, and the bringing down the interest rate is hurting the common people, whereas the bringing down the interest rate is enabling the rich and the industrialists to borrow from the bank at a lower cost. Comrades and friends, a very good morning to all of you. From the discussions that we had in the last few weeks, we have come to a clear conclusion that there is a close relationship between economics and politics. And politics and economics cannot be separated. Political policies are so designed to secure certain economic interests, and economic policies are formulated to secure or achieve certain political aims. And this is what the Marshall Plan is all about. The last week we said that America, through the Marshall Plan, helped Europe for its reconstruction after the Second World War. The Marshall Plan was named after the Secretary of State of United States of America at that particular time, George Marshall, and he, along with Keynes, they formulated certain policies. How to bring back the economic activities in Europe, how the reconstruction of Europe must take place. And in this whole process, America, which was least affected by the Second World War, took the lead in funding the reconstruction of Europe. It pledged 15 billion US dollars to reconstruct Europe. They also invited the East European countries and Russia, which had formed a separate bloc after the Second World War, to join them. But these countries refused to join them on the understanding that they cannot allow somebody else to intervene in their politics and economics. So, the Europe reconstruction had two aims. One, revive the economies, and secondly, to halt communism from spreading in the European continent. This is how the Marshall Plan came into existence, and it also created what we now understand as a Cold War, when the world was divided into two blocks. One bloc led by the United States of America and another bloc led by the Soviet Union. Now, we last week came to the conclusion, as most of the economies across the world, that between 1945 and 1970, there was a huge economic growth in Europe. And naturally, that economic growth was also visible in the United States of America and different parts of the globe. Now, but by 19 1970, the economies started weakening. The crisis started reappearing in the economy. What are the reasons for the reappearance of the crisis? We can say that broadly there are three reasons for this crisis to develop. One, the collapse of the Bretton Woods system. This Bretton Woods system was an agreement that was arrived at by 44 countries that met in Bretton Woods, which is a place in New Hampshire state of the United States of America. There they decided how to reorganize the economies and how to reorganize the world itself. And through that agreement, two financial institutions were created. One is the IMF, the second is the World Bank. And more importantly, they said if the economies have to grow, there should be a stability in the exchange value. If each currency is traded and that country which owns the currency tries to devalue it or increase the value of that currency, that is going to create problem for trade and commerce. And therefore they said that there should be a stability in the exchange rate. And that is necessary to facilitate trade in goods and services. And it was decided that since United States is the largest economy, then its currency should be the focus of attention. And the US dollar was related to the gold. That 35 US dollar is equivalent to 1 ounce of gold. 1 ounce means close to about 28.35 grams. So all the other currencies were related to the dollar, and that stability was achieved. But then the American economy itself faced quite a lot of problems. In the late 1967-68, it appeared that there is a huge inflation in America. And this inflation came about, creating crisis in the economy due to two factors. One was the excessive spending by the government domestically, and secondly, the United States fought a war in Vietnam. And that extracted huge cost from the United States. And because the war has to be funded, the cost on war along with the domestic inflation, that created a huge crisis in the economy. And by 1971, when Richard Nixon was the President of the United States, he announced that it would no longer be possible for the United States of America to exchange dollars for gold, because the volume of dollars that were in circulation was so huge that the available gold was unable to meet the demand relating to the dollar. And therefore Nixon announced in 1971 that no longer American dollar can be exchanged for gold. And by 1973, this Bretton Woods, that exchange system, fixed exchange system collapsed. And that created a whole lot of problem for the economies across the world, and more importantly in Europe and United States of America. The second important development was the two oil shocks. The first oil shock was in 1973. All of us know that Israel was a creation of the imperialist. That after the Second World War, Israel was created on Palestinian soil, and there is no peace in that land from the time that it was established. And a lot of wars have been fought. 1948, a war was fought, and in 1973, another war between Israel and Arab countries took place. And the Arab countries, they felt that America supported Israel in the war, Europe supported Israel in the war, and they should be punished. And they placed a embargo, oil embargo. And a lot of oil production or reserves, oil reserves are in the Middle East. So when they placed the oil embargo, suddenly the prices of oil shot up. From $3 a barrel, it shot up to $12 a barrel. And that created a huge economic distress because energy is necessary for industrial development. The second oil shock came in 1979 when the Iranian Revolution took place, where the Iranian people overthrew Shah, who was supported by Americans, and as a process, there was a disruption in the supply of oil. There was a cut in production of oil, and again the prices of oil shot up. So, along with these two factors, the third factor that came into operation was that most of the countries in Latin America, especially, and the third world countries, they had huge public debt. The states, the countries were unable to service those debts. They were unable to repay back those debts. And that created the third problem. And as a result, the economies came to a very serious crisis. Exactly at that time, around that time, another economist came into the limelight, who was also given the Nobel Prize for Economics. And that was Milton Friedman. He was an American economist, what we normally call it as belonging to the Chicago School of Economic Thought. He said that the problem that has come about in the economies is because of the Keynesian economics, because Keynes plays a very important role for the fiscal policy. Milton said fiscal policy will lead to disaster, and therefore what is necessary is to give the importance to monetary policy, and this is what is called as monetarism, which Milton brought about. Under this monetarism, he said it is the responsibility of the governments to ensure a steady flow of money into the market so that the inflation can be controlled. And this can be done by targeting or keeping the interest rates, controlling the interest rates, and controlling the inflation. And that is exactly what we are seeing today in India, where interest rates have been brought down to target the inflation, and the bringing down the interest rate is hurting the common people, whereas the bringing down the interest rate is enabling the rich and the industrialists to borrow from the bank at a lower cost. So this is what Milton suggested, and he said that we had to go back to the classical economics, what Adam Smith propagated. There should be a total freedom for the market. The government should not play an interventionist role. And he also said that the government should not unnecessarily spend, it should not create the fiscal deficit by following a fiscal policy. And that he said that government role must be reduced in the economy. There should be a smaller government and the freedom for the market. What now our Prime Minister Narendra Modi says, less government and more governance. This is what he says. And this is what Milton also said then. And then the policy, monetary policy, the monetarism of Milton Friedman became important for implementation of the economic policies then. And by 1979, Margaret Thatcher, she came to power in United Kingdom, and Ronald Reagan, by 1981, he came to power in United States of America, and they adopted these policies of Milton Friedman, despite knowing the fact that Milton Friedman's policies were tested in Chile and they failed. The first test of the Milton Friedman's policies was in Chile, when the dictator Pinochet, he adopted the policies of Milton Friedman. There was economic prosperity, but economic prosperity for a few people, and it came at a great cost. There was a deindustrialization, there was a increase of unemployment by tenfold, and the economy was ruined. So much so that by 1980, Pinochet gave up the policies of Milton Friedman, and he was forced to nationalize several financial institutions in Chile. But despite this failure of the Milton Friedman's policy, Margaret Thatcher and Ronald Reagan went ahead to implement these policies. And in simple terms, Margaret Thatcher said, it is not the responsibility of the government to redistribute the wealth. The government at best can facilitate the creation of wealth, but redistribution of the wealth is not the problem of the government. And it is not the business of the government to be in business. And on the basis of this, the policies were implemented, what we call as a new liberal economic policies in United States of America and United Kingdom, and it spread to several other countries. How this neoliberal economic system destroyed the concept of a welfare state and what impact it had on India when in 1991 we changed the economic policy in India. We will study these aspects and we will relate from next week onwards more to India, because the groundwork for understanding the development of economics has already been laid in the last few weeks. Now from next week we will give our attention as to how the Indian economy developed and where does it stand now and what progress it has brought about for the vast majority of the people, or what distress it has brought about for the vast majority of the people. We will study this next week. So we will meet again next week at the same time. Thank you.